Alright, welcome back to the single-player pre-alpha Cosmic Reach world. We're here at the observatory with the beautiful red strands gleaming down from the heavens, and the new gallery, which is not yet filled in, but will be soon, casting a window into the great outer space beneath us. We are going to do something very special, something long overdue, something that should have been done a while back, and actually probably should have been done before the gallery, but I got a little bit sidetracked and I just wanted to make that before I did this because I was having a little bit of trouble deciding exactly what I want to do for the design of it. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about this big snow area. Now you'll notice that it's currently dark. I set it to, let's see, what is this called? Dark night lighting. Of course we have the beautiful walls of iron and magma, and we have the glowing lights on top of the big double buffered iron walls. We have the glowing lights on top of the gallery, the red streamers, the spiral of white lights going up the long erect shaft of the observatory, which still needs a head on it. We need to decide what to do with this snow. And you can see in my inventory here, I have 3 blocks. So let's go over what they are right now. The first block we have is wood. And what am I doing with wood? I want to build some trees. I want to build some trees here on the moon, kind of decorate them a little bit. I've always liked trees in Minecraft. I liked kind of terraforming them and making tree houses and things like that. And my enjoyment of trees kind of feels like it's going to carry over to this game as well. Let me show you a quick design, just a very basic design that I was playing with. So I was wondering what to use for the leaves for the trees, because we don't actually have leaves yet. We have grass, like this, but that's a little boring. Nobody really wants to use a 6 cube face grass block. That's kind of standard and boring. So I thought, well, maybe we'll use lava, or cheese, I guess it's officially dubbed as. It doesn't look like cheese, it looks like lava, but I suppose it's actually cheese. And when you look at this, what does that look like to you? It doesn't look like a tree, and it doesn't look very aesthetic either. And there's no light, so if we spread these trees around on the darkness, they'll just be shrouded in darkness. So I thought, well, there's some way we gotta incorporate a light bulb. And remember last episode I was saying I'd like to put lights under the snow and have the lights wrap around on top of the snow so everything's lit up in different colors. We're still gonna do that, but I kind of ditched that idea. Not completely, I'm just not going to put it under the snow. I'm not going to make little holes with glass because that would be pretty lame. Instead, I'm going to incorporate it into these trees. I'm just going to put the trees everywhere. And then I'm still going to have paths and stuff going around to the different areas within this perimeter here. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I don't like this tree. The cheese just doesn't blend well with the wood. I gotta find out, it's a good way to put a light on this sucker. I'm abandoning this idea. Instead, I thought, well, what other blocks do we have? We don't have that many. We have metal, we have cobblestone, we have this construction warning block, we have aluminum, I guess, and we have grass and dirt, which is one option. We have C4, we have glass, we have stone, we have packed stone, lunar soil is what you would call that. We have magma blocks. The problem with the magma blocks is that they glow red, and I don't want this whole place to be red. And I'm already using magma blocks over here, so it'd be kind of weird to use them inside the perimeter as well. I want the inside of the perimeter to be kind of nice and, I guess, kind of beautiful, I suppose. And I wanted to fit the color theme, the blue and white color theme, and the snowy color theme too. And so what I kind of decided, and this might change, but I think what I'm going to do is use snow, even though we're already using snow for the bottom. And I thought this was a good idea because well, obviously it matches the snow on the ground. But dark wood like this and snow on top just kind of has a certain charm to it. It feels kind of natural, and the reason for that is because if you live in an area where it snows, you'd know about this. When in the winter, when it snows and the trees become all white and, you know, there's snow all over them, they look absolutely beautiful. And I think that's why this looks normal, is because it just looks like a winter tree. Like not an evergreen tree, but a pine, I guess you would call it, a pine tree, like in a taiga biome or something like that with snow on the top. And I really like it. And the other thing about this is, like I was saying earlier, if you remember my test with the lighting and how light reflects very well off of this white surface of the snow, because it's not combining with any other colors, because the snow is you know, very, very light blue and then also white, so the colors reflect off very well. It's going to be the same thing with these trees. So if I put the light here and I get kind of away from these white lights, then not only will the light shine off the snow, it'll also shine off these snowy leaves, I guess we can call them. I might not put the light bulb there. I might, I don't know, hide it somewhere else. I might make the top of these trees bigger. I don't want to make it too complicated, because if it gets too complicated, it's just going to be a ton of work to make big tree designs all over the place. And I kind of like the minimalist design of this kind of a tree. So let's build this again. But let's do it over here. So I have 1, 2, 3, and I will definitely make trees of different heights as well, because if they're all the same, then it's kind of boring. Similar to the red strands that I made, they're all kind of different heights. And now if I put a blue light here, you can see that the leaves glow and the snow below glows, and it's very, very nice. Except I'm not sure if I want the light there or if I want it somewhere else. Here's a little experiment I did in my second video I ever released on this channel with lighting. I think it's called Experimenting with Colored Lighting. I had this phenomenon happen where the light wraps through the corners of the blocks and then dies really quickly. It doesn't really light anything up below the trees. So this is an option. The outside of the leaves are just a dark color, a dark purple, I guess, in this lighting in particular. And if we change the lighting to something like Earth Day, then it looks a little bit weird. This is why I don't like this design decision, because with the lighting seeping through the seams, I guess you would say, it doesn't look great when it's not nighttime. And if we go to Orange Sky, kind of the same thing. If we go to Pitch Dark, it looks really cool. If we go to Overcast, yeah, it's kind of messy and ugly. Same thing with Space Day. Dark Night, we're back to it looking pretty cool. I was thinking about maybe doing this. It also doesn't glow the snow below, so I want to do something where the light is exposed. And this way we can light up this entire area. So I'm going to take a moment to try to find some designs on how we can do that. Alright, here's what I came up with. It's not very creative, but I just thought I'd stick to the basics, do something simple. So we have 4 options here. The first one has the light block on the very bottom. The second one has the light block in the middle. The third one, as you can see, has the light block just below the leaves. And the fourth one has the light block on top of the tree. I don't really like this option. I don't really like this option either. And so it's up to these 2 options. Between these 2, I think they're both pretty good, but I think it's going to be best. This one honestly kind of looks like you just grew a tree on top of a lamp, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. It just looks good, but it looks a little bit gimmicky, I guess, or just weird in general. So that means this one looks the best. It looks the most natural. It's kind of like a lumberjack came by and chopped off the middle. As he was chopping away the bark, he replaced it with lamp or something like that, so it seems doable. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. So I think this is the design we're going to go for. I'm going to make trees of differing heights. The leaf pattern is going to be the same for all of them, just because it's very simple, it's quick to make, and it looks good. I want to take this time-lapse moment to talk about vocal filler in my videos. You'll notice that recently my videos have had more and more cuts, and a lot of times these cuts are more strategic to kind of keep the video rolling. This is especially true in videos that are supposed to be faster paced, so for example, action-y videos like the parkour maps. It just makes for a better viewing experience if something is always happening on screen, or audio-wise too, which is me speaking. But it seems like more recently I've been using a lot of vocal filler, a lot of ands and buts and so's and okays and alrights, especially the ands. I say and a lot when I start my sentences, and it sounds like and, or like a very nasally, nerdy sounding and. I don't like it at all. And there goes my voice cracking too. That's another thing. I don't know why that happens. I think it's because I'm trying to regulate my voice volume when I make these videos for whatever reason. And because I'm talking so much, my mouth gets a little bit dry, my throat gets a little bit dry, and then it just kind of cracks all the time while I'm recording. That doesn't usually happen in real life with me. My voice is pretty stable. This is something I want to get some feedback on from my viewers, on if you think there are too many cuts that I do in my videos. They can keep the video moving forward and keep it interesting, but sometimes I'm a bit concerned that there's just too many of them. One remedy for this is that I can simply get better at speaking. This whole video thing has been a big exercise in speaking because I'm listening to my voice back every time I make these episodes over and over and over again. I probably rewatch my own videos multiple times each, and I rewatch them when they actually release on YouTube as well. It's a very good exercise for seeing what sounds good and what sounds bad when you're speaking. And like if you're trying to entertain or if you're trying to sound authoritative or informational, you can kind of pick out the things you don't like and pick out the things you do like and then just improve everything over time. It's been bleeding over into my real life communication skills as well, so I'm very thankful for this opportunity to be able to analyze my voice so much. But yeah, if you have any feedback on if there's too many cuts in my videos you feel like, or if there's, you know, if it's just the right amount or whatever, please let me know. I don't suspect that I'll get much feedback on this. It's just kind of a personal thing, and I haven't really heard anybody complain about this in the past. It's just something I've been thinking about recently. I am going to try to refine my vocal filler so that I don't do it as much. That way I won't have to make as many cuts. Alright, here we are, done with all the trees. Actually, soon after I finished these trees, my graphics drivers crashed again. That just seems to happen when I'm building this game randomly. And it's almost every single time I play now. It's a little bit annoying. And actually, it's very annoying. But I just kind of put up with it. I'm assuming, I mean, it's a very early on in development, and I'm assuming that it's just a small graphics issue that'll be fixed eventually. So it doesn't bother me that much. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I used this blue, I used a purple, I used the darker blue, and then I used this bright cyan. And I wanted to keep the color scheme very bluish, very cold, I guess, a very cold color scheme. And I like it. There's some dark patches around the areas that I want to kind of fill in with something other than trees. I'm not going to worry too much about the paths. So for example, if I have a path running from the start, or not the start, the front of the observatory right here, and it goes straight that way. Oh wow, do I have three? Oh, I have three trees that was unintentional, lined up directly with each other. I might shift those around a bit. I don't like when the trees, or things that I place randomly, are lined up with each other. I think I'm going to shift these around on my own time. But I'm going to run the paths straight to where they need to be, and if there happens to be a tree in the middle of the path, that's totally fine. I would think I'm kind of going to like that aesthetic, because it kind of just looks like the trees have grown everywhere. It's not so pristine and organized. I like things that are a little bit unorganized, because if everything is perfect and everything is symmetrical, then it feels like you kind of have to, I don't know, it feels like you kind of have to build everything in the future perfectly, and you don't have any space for just playing around and just trying things out. And I guess a real life example of what I'm talking about is my uncle used to have a mansion that we used to go to once a year for parties on a big hill, and everything in that house was super pristine and nice. And it really made you feel like you didn't want to touch anything. It was kind of a non-homely environment, so pretty much the exact opposite of what you might want for a family party. And that's kind of the same idea I'm applying here. You don't want everything to be perfect. You want to have some oddities and some inconsistencies so that you feel the ability, you feel comfortable kind of messing around and just building whatever you want and not worrying too much about how things are set up. And I see that I actually missed a snow block here. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to try to fill in as many of these dark spaces as possible with little bushes. So I have to figure out what I want the bushes to look like. Okay. Things have changed. The sky is a different color. And that's because my graphics drivers just crashed again. Changed this to Dark Night. That's getting on my nerves. It seems to be happening more and more often too. But anyway, what I was trying to say, and actually I'll put a screenshot on the screen right now of a person in the past who told me how to reset my graphics drivers with my keyboard without restarting my entire computer and shutting everything down and reopening everything. Thank you very much to that user, because that's what I've been doing and it's been working and it's been saving me a ton of time and stress. Anyway, let's get back to what we were doing. So I want to find a good bush pattern. Before I do the bush pattern, I want to say that these trees, I aimed for making them between 3 logs high and 5 logs high. And the reason I didn't go higher is because I didn't want the lights to not have much of an effect on the leaves. So for example, if you look at these 5 log high trees, the leaves at the top aren't lit up as much as the 3 log high trees, which you can see right here. If they get too tall, then they'll just be dark at the top, and I didn't want that because the lamp positionings aren't changing. It's just the height of the logs. And then I also didn't put any trees in the white light areas over here because the white light, as you can kind of see, for example, with this light, it steals from the colored lighting. So if I was to shift this to the right, then only the left side of this tree over here would be lit up, and the right side would just kind of be cut off. So I wanted to avoid that as much as possible. And now let's light up the rest of the dark with some bushes. Okay, here's what I came up with. It's really simple, and I say bush, but I mean, obviously this isn't a bush, it's just 4 snow slabs with a lamp in the middle. I decided to use this green color, which is right here. It's the farthest away from the warm colors without getting too green. I want to kind of keep it near these blues. I was thinking about putting a slab on top, just to kind of make it more decorative. The problem with that is lighting doesn't work well with slabs, it looks like, so it kind of blocks off all the light, so I have to keep this open. And I'm gonna do that just kind of all over the place. I don't think I'm gonna vary the color that's in the bush. I think I'm gonna keep them all the same color. I want to use this minute of time-lapse to talk about how much I appreciate the comments like the one I showed on screen earlier about resetting the graphics drivers. A big part of the fun factor with making these videos is being able to interact with people, which I mentioned in my 100 subscriber special video. I really enjoy talking to people both on the Discord, on the Cosmic Reach Discord, and then also especially in my YouTube comments. I leave replies a lot, and that's not just to boost the algorithm or anything, it's actually because I enjoy talking to people. So if you have anything that you want to comment on in my videos or anything, if I ever ask for advice or feedback on anything, please do drop a comment if you have the time, because I really appreciate it. Alright, and there we have it. It's just spread all the bushes around. They're not even at all, they're not uniform whatsoever, but I like the variability. And one kind of interesting thing I want to show is I was talking about how the lighting doesn't work too well with the slabs. First, I thought that the green light was going to kind of overpower the lights around it. So for example, the area's a little bit dark here, so if I wanted to place a green light here, the green light really bleeds into the other lighting, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want the bushes to overpower anything else. But it actually turned out to be okay, because once I place slabs around this, you'll notice that those shadows start appearing, and that's because the slabs make it harder for the light to escape. And so it actually works out pretty well with the green lighting not overpowering everything else. I think the last thing that I'm going to do is kind of carve out a road for the observatory into these different areas. And I'm not going to do anything fancy right now, it's just kind of going to be a little bit of a prototype. I'm just going to shift the snow down 1 level so that it's as if you're walking on a path. I'm in the middle of making the path. This is what it looks like. I think it looks really nice, especially with these shadows coming up the slabs. It really does look like a road, just a road that was snowed over, basically. And one thing I ran into is that these logs kind of hover over the slabs. One thing I have to do to fix this is just break this slab and then replace that with a log, and then we get rid of that issue. We have the same problem with the bushes and the slabs of snow around them, and to fix this one, I'm going to just place a snow block there and get rid of the path, so it kind of looks like this. Alright, that's it. So the paths are complete, they just go in all 4 cardinal directions towards each of the doors. I didn't do anything with the paths going into the gallery yet. I think I'm just gonna end up replacing all this with slabs again. But I'm not sure, I might do something different with this hallway, something kinda interesting that matches the aesthetic of what's in the gallery here. Because this looks so much different than what's going on in here and in the rest of the areas that I'm thinking it might be a good idea to exchange this floor with something more colorful or interesting. It looks a little bare right now, how it is, because there's no houses or facilities yet, but there will be in time, so it'll become a little bit more lively as time goes on. And that's all I have for this episode, so thank you for watching.